Hey gals, it's day 8 and today we're going to talk about branding. Yes, the last few days have flown by. That's what happens when it's our customers' weekend. We work. We don't get the weekend. Our weekend comes Monday. So Monday I usually spend working on small business projects, mentoring, and preparing for my next week starting Tuesday. So today what I was thinking about as I was working on some branding projects for other customers, I was thinking about my journey and what I went through choosing my brand, developing my brand, and then now moving on my brand and setting up for selling my brand. So I thought this might be a good kind of question to ask you. Are you in the process of creating your brand, or are you working on your brand, you're feeling a little bit like lost, you're not sure where you're taking it, what you're doing with it, if it was the right name, if you should have used your own name, or what is it? What are you doing? Or a product, you gave a name and maybe you're regretting the name, whatever it is. I've been there. My doodling, my business doodle book, doodling business names, designer names, what name I want to work under, blah, 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 blah. I've been there. So what I did when I was first starting my business, I decided what I would be as an artist designer and then what my store would be. And I wanted to have a store because of advice I had received. Actually, it had a lot to do with when I was doing my market research and business research. I had to prepare for a business plan and presentations, right? It was about several months of presenting, research, all these sorts of things. So you can imagine the mailing list I signed up for, anything that was free, I was just reading it, downloading it. And the advice I kept receiving was, small business, if you want to have a future, you should be your goal should be to have a product, to have a business that you can sell. The way entrepreneurs retire is by selling their business. Some will disagree with that, and that's fine. I'm sharing information that I was given, and I think it's valuable to share. Some might say I'm going to scale my business in ways where I can, retire, and then someone else can take over, and that might even still be your name, not necessarily like a product name, away from that doesn't associate with you personally. So what do I mean by that? I am Cris Mac. My company is the Capelli Club. So if I opened up my store that said Cris Mac, it might be a little more difficult or not packaged as nicely when I'm ready to retire from it, or I've got all I can get out of it and I'm ready to move on to my next project, because so many of us creative minds just want to keep making new things. So we don't want to be stuck on one project. Like we found an industry problem, we fixed it, we packaged it, we have clientele. Now can someone move it along so I can get on to the next thing? If I had named it myself, it might be a little bit harder to convince someone to take it on, especially when it's more of a mom and pop type business plan. So if it was a big, let's say a shoe brand, someone might take it on, depending how big you get, right? We know how many designer names out there, huge designer names, that now they have passed or have retired, and another designer is taking on that brand. We hear that all the time. But doesn't it still kind of feel weird? It's like, sorry, who's the designer for Coco Chanel? But it's Coco Chanel. No. Oh, I just feel like, to me, I'd rather just have a brand that has nothing to do with my name. So I went with the Capelli Club Incorporated. Anybody can take that on, and no one's questioning who, what, where, when, why. No one's questioning it. It's a brand. It has its name, much like Nike. Nike, do you think about the designer, like the one designer, the person? Every time you put on Nikes, are you thinking, oh yeah, this is a great designer, I really love them? No, you're thinking Nike as a brand. It's anybody could create a shoe, submit something to Nike, they produce it, it's great, it's accepted. You're not wondering who's behind that most of the time. I mean, unless you're a very inquisitive person, but most of us we just accept the fact it's a Nike running shoe. So I wanted a product that I could move on. I had it's kind of funny why I even got into what I got into, but there's parts of the business that I love. There's parts of the business that I really almost can't even stand. And yet I was motivated to fix a problem. So package it together. presented, and clearly there was a problem, or quite a few problems in the industry and in the industry in Ottawa, because the business plan was accepted and funded. They saw that there was a need that I was going to fulfill. So that was really cool. But now I'm done. I'm like, okay, that's great. Am I just going to keep doing this over and over and over again? No, not me. I'm back to my doodle book. I want to create the next brand. I want to create the next venture. I want to get my hands into something else now. So it's really good that I positioned my business that way, because in the future, near future, far future, whenever it may be, I can package up the Capelli Club and move it on, and no one, like anybody, could take that, have a business and be proud of it and call it their own. I'm not associated to it anymore. So it's like truly this little baby, you package it up, it's completely independent, it's its own person, and you move it on. Where, if it's, when it's you, how do you do that? How do you move on from you? Again, not that it's not possible, it's just a little more complicated. Again, it's like Coco Chanel, but who's designing for her? So I divided the two. I had my business, its name, packaged its own way. Then I have me, and then I'm developing myself as a brand. So what is it about myself that I'm going to do no matter what? If someone comes to me for my mind or my experience, my skill set, something that I personally do, then I say, okay, those things are mine, they'll always be me. Those things I'll brand those under my name. So, okay, my businesses, me as an entrepreneur, me as maybe as a mentor, okay, I can brand those because those will always be me, and I'm not interested, or I'm not even thinking of selling that part of me. So, okay, maybe these items will be under Cris Mac or under Cris Mac. Now, the next thing would be, what about the design concept? So when you're designing, you might, let's say Cris Mac is going to make a line of 10 dresses. So yes, okay, I've decided that those are mine. I want to brand those as me. And am I selling them in Cris Mac store? No, what I've decided to do is create Coco Armadio. So Coco Armadio is the store, the boutique that sells my product. Now, if I continue to design, or I want to make one or two little things when I'm 65 years of age, that's fine, because that's me. If I want to mentor, if I want to write a book, it's under my name. But again, Coco Armadio, I could sell that. Someone else could take over that boutique, that online store, that domain. Someone else could take that over, and I could monetize it and move it on and go on to my next project. So that's something to consider. This is my mental process. Yours is going to be completely different, as it should be. So it's interesting to think about and just step back and say, okay, where do I see this business going 5, 10, 15 years? And you should be able to think about that. You should be able to foresee, where you want to be with your business and when you're going to move on from your business, because there's a lot of different memes and stuff that go around with entrepreneurs, and especially mom and pop shops, and they talk about reaching goals and how an entrepreneur can scale. And the one thing they'll say is like, your time equaling your money is this hamster wheel. You're never really going to get ahead. This is something that I say to my staff, like, your 45 minutes is only worth so much. And if you're not giving a minute, you're not getting paid. So you have to make as much money as you can make for every 45-minute block. But then you're also maxed out at that. Like a stylist, for example, might charge $60 for a haircut. So their 45 minutes, their life, their time, their value is never going to be more than $60. So the 45 minutes will always be worth $60. And maybe they can add in something else. They say, well, it's okay because every time I do a cut, I'm going to throw in a treatment. A product. Okay, now you've taken your $60 and now you've made your 45 minutes worth $80. However, there's costs associated, right? So you start taking around with the cost, the hydro, the this, the water, to buy the product, and it comes down to like $45, right? Then they get taxed on that. So what are we at now? $22.50, right? So it's like, I'm worth $22.50. How am I ever going to grow? So this is something where having a business, building a business, but positioning it in a way that you can franchise it, a way that you can sell it, or a way that you can hire more of you under that umbrella and keep doing the same thing, and all of a sudden now others are working for you. So that shop time or that store time or that product time, how much can you multiply? So that's where, for me, the kind of that hamster wheel, especially in our industry, just keeps going and going and going and going, because you're always having to hire, replace, train, and you can only go so far. How many do you want? 10 chairs, 12 chairs, 20 chairs? How many people do you want to be managing? How many locations do you want? If that's your goal, amazing, but that's not my goal. So that's, to me, is exhausting. So I don't want to have anything to do with that. Where somebody might say, that's my business model. That's exactly what I want. Great. But you see how you're looking 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. What do I want? Where's my goal? What is my goal? So that's something to consider. When you're considering branding, it's not just about something that's cool or trendy. Think about where you're going to be in 5, 10, 15 years, and what is that business going to mean to you, and are you still going to be part of it? So that's just food for thought. That's where I am right now. And I'm actually taking my brands, and I have them as like little umbrellas, and I'm writing down everything that falls under those brands, and then where I want to see each of those brands go in the next, right now I'm working on the next 5 years. So, hey, maybe that's a project for you too. Let me know what you thought. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm trying to share things that are popping up in my day. That's part of the countdown too, though. I'm doing the countdown for the last, I might not have, some of you, I don't know if anyone's watching this has no clue what I'm talking about. So the Capelli Club location is moving. I'm actually restructured, moving, all kinds of stuff's going on, because I myself am a designer. I opened up my location to facilitate artists, entrepreneurial artists. And I myself am an artist, and I expect it to be facilitated under my own business. However, when you are the owner of a business, it's not Cris Mac, remember, I created a little brand, so often you can get forgotten within your own business that you created. I wanted to really make sure that these next few years I'm growing and developing my art. So we simplified, streamlined to what we really love and what makes us the most money for the time put in, and take those, and then take our goals and what also out of the services, which ones are going to support what we're doing moving forward, and which ones just tend to be distractions from our goals. So we had to draw everything out, circle, connect everything, and really decide, okay, what are we doing moving forward? So that is all happening. April 27th is the last day. It's a rush. So yeah, there's so much going on right now. And that's the countdown. So back to what I was saying, it's day 8. What I was trying to do is update you on where I'm at, what day 8 looks like for me, what I'm, thinking about, what I'm working on, really what are the ins and outs of a shop owner day in, day out, and then especially what happens when a shop owner is moving and changing their business. So I wanted to take you along for the ride, because in ways I'm taking this experience, but I have a new start, and I didn't document my original journey, opening the Capelli Club, applying for funding for the Capelli Club, going through commercial property. I didn't document that stuff, so I'm going to do it this time with you. So that's what this whole little project is. So I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're following along. That would be amazing. And then again, if you do have any questions, please just add them in the comments below. Some people have been emailing, but if you can do the comments below, it helps. I really want to share any experience that I have, anything I can give of value to new shop owners, people who have this entrepreneurial drive. They're really hoping to make it a business one day. I just want to share everything I can think of, because if I can help you, make your journey a little more smooth, then I will feel amazing, and that'll make you super, super happy. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Ciao.